show is not suitable for children, sensitive men, or insecure women. Can you trust somebody that doesn't take care of their kids?
I don't trust no man on earth that does not take care of their children.
What's the biggest red flag in a relationship?
Low effort and not being honest.
Most of the time, you would think that a bad financial mistake would be spending money on clothes or vacation or like spending money on women. My worst financial mistake was buying a home.
Like a king, give me my crown.
Game time. Game time. Appreciate y'all.
All right.
Yes.
It's that time. It's that time, man. You know, it's that time, man. Blackout hour is amongst us. We got a lot to talk about. But before we start, tomorrow, Earn Your Leisure, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, we're going to do a live that's going to walk you through how to start in crypto, basics that you need to understand crypto on a very understandable level. Wallet, ETF, Coinbase. We're going over it with Caleb Silver, who's the perfect person because his website actually, that's where you get the terms from. So if you Google Cold Wallet, you're going to go to Investopedia and they're going to give you the terms. So I feel like that's the perfect person to kind of explain it from an educational standpoint, and a great educator, somebody that can really teach. So 9 o'clock tomorrow for anybody that's interested in learning about crypto on an onboarding level. Ian, anything that you would like to say?
Yes. Thank you to everybody who tuned into Market Mondays. I see y'all ain't left Miami yet.
Gotta do it.
What a time. That's how I got sick. EWR, can you put some heating lamps up? Yo, I almost got pneumonia. Please. If you want to get rich from the market, go to eninvest.com. I'll tell you where to get in and where to get out. Prices will be posted Friday. Over 90 different prices for stocks on where to get in. Multiple gems of the day delivered in Telegram. Call every week on Monday nights. If I made you money, please put yes in chat, but go to eninvest.com if you want to get rich from the market. I love y'all.
Yes, sir. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to start this out. Let's start it out with Trump and his mass deportation plan. Now, we have some clips we can show from Instagram. Let's show these clips.
Let's show the clip.
Let's talk about mass deportation, one of your big agenda items. You've talked about prioritizing people who have criminal histories.
Correct.
But is it your plan to deport everyone who is here illegally over the next 4 years?
Well, I think you have to do it. And it's a very tough thing to do. But you have to have, you have rules, regulations, laws. They came in illegally. I don't want to be breaking up families. So the only way you don't break up the family is you keep them together and you have to send them all back.
Even kids who are here legally?
Well, what you're going to do if they want to stay with the father, look, we have to have rules and regulations. You can always find something out like, this doesn't work, that doesn't work.
Like you promised to end birthright citizenship on day one. Is that still your plan?
Yeah, absolutely.
The 14th Amendment, though, says that, quote, all persons born in the United States are citizens. Can you get around the 14th Amendment with an executive action?
We're going to have to get a change. We'll maybe have to go back to the people, but we have to end it. We're the only country that has it.
Through an executive action?
We're the only country that has it. If somebody sets just a foot, 1 foot, you don't need to, on our land, congratulations, you are now a citizen of the United States of America. Yes, we're going to end that because it's ridiculous.
Okay, so the only part that I don't agree with is him saying that he has to kick every single person out, because we already went over this, where I don't think that that's going to be good for the economy, X, Y, and Z. If you haven't watched the episode, it's pretty legendary. You can go watch it. But other than that, I'm not opposed to how he's handling this situation, as far as to say, okay, just because you're born in America, I don't think that you should necessarily have rights to become an American citizen. You go to other countries, you go to Dubai, you can't become a citizen in the UAE. You can't. So I'm not saying that that's a pathway forward, because I do think that immigrants play a major part, and I think that you should be able to become a citizen. But I'm not against what he's saying here. Even, if you got to deport people, you got to deport the whole family. I mean, that's more humane than deporting.
Wait, what?
No, you don't want to break up the family, right?
True.
So it's like that would be more humane than keeping the kid here and then sending the mother back, right? That's not humane. So it's like if you're gonna deport people that come here illegally, right? Then it would be better to do the whole family as opposed to breaking up the family. Nobody wants to see a family broken up.
But if this law is uprooted, what other laws will he be able to uproot and or change? And does this only apply to certain immigrants or immigrants that have came here in a mass wealth as well?
Only Spanish and Black immigrants. You know that.
Well,
what are we talking about? Kicking out immigrants.
I'm like, y'all let Elon come over here run up a bag. Like, wait, what?
No, 1,000%. He's not talking about immigrants from Europe. Of course not.
Okay. Well,
yeah, no, for sure. No, definitely.
Yeah,
no.
Lo siento, Yeah.
But we do have a problem. We do have a problem with the migrants. I don't know where this started. Maybe we can bring a political scholar on, but I just feel like these last couple of years, the migrant situation has exploded. And I saw it firsthand. I saw it in Chicago when we went to Chicago, and I saw all the people camped out in front of the police station. I'm like, what are they doing? They're like, yo, they don't have anywhere to go, so this is a safe refuge for them. And I think it was like a political game that they was playing because they were trying to make a point. But they put all of the migrants, and I've seen even in my neighborhood, I've seen people lines for. I'm like, what is the line for on a Sunday? Like, yeah, they're giving out free food. This is all of the migrants that come and just. So what I'm saying is that it's not helpful when you just have a lot of people coming into a country if you're not equipped to handle that. Now, it is helpful if those people are coming and they're working. That's beneficial, and there's a lot of illegal immigrants that work, and those are beneficial people to the economy. But everybody is not beneficial as far as on an economic standpoint. So I do feel like, if you come to this country, it should be beneficial. Like I feel like there is some level of humanitarian, like because we've done so much bad in the world that we do have to clean our karma. So you do have to let some people in just because they're seeking refuge from different situations. But if you're going to let these people in and they're seeking asylum, then you should have areas set up. You should have some level of infrastructure set up for them, like not just winging it and just have them staying in hotels in New York. Like, I feel like there should be a plan. Yeah. There should be a plan in place. And, Trump, he's not doing the plan. So if he's not going to have that plan, then the next best thing is to execute this plan that he's trying to get people. And keep in mind, Obama deported more presidents than George Bush did.
More migrants, you mean?
Migrants.
Yeah.
Immigrants. Yeah. Is there a difference? Is there a difference?
Well, yeah. Well, you said presidents. Obama deported more presidents.
Oh, my bad. No. Yeah. Obama deported more migrants / illegal immigrants than I think any other president in American history. I think so. Maybe, yeah. So that's interesting, right? We don't think about it like that. He's a Democrat, but I mean, he was tough on illegal immigration. That's part of his legacy.
He was. If Auntie Shell texts me, I'm gonna let you know. But right. Oh, y'all be like, yo, he pandering. Who when it comes to the Obamas? Yeah, for sure. My only thing about Trump is, how do you plan to pull this plan off? So, like, if a child is born here, how are you going to be able to round up the entire family and deport them on schedule and at scale? I think some of this may sound lofty and it sounds good in theory, but the execution may be pretty tough to pull this off. But
you do bring up a good point, because it is an amendment. I think it's the 14th it's one of these. It's actually part of the bylaws of the country that if a child is born in America, then they become an American citizen. So for him to reverse that, he would actually have to change. Is it a constitutional amendment? Maybe we can get some research on that. But once you start to do that, what else can be changed?
And on top of that, while we're in debt, can the country afford to have its citizen rate go down when the citizenship rate is traded as an equity? I always want to go back to the money. You don't have to like my take, but the truth is I want to go back to the capital part. And after you get stamped on a birth certificate, that is worth something.
What were you talking about? Oh, are you talking about You talking about like the people on your YouTube that talking about how they trade your social security numbers on the bond market at your birth and all of that? Like that's what you're referring
to? Never what I said. It's never what I said.
Okay.
Just that, yeah. So like, as Americans are born, we get to invest more capital into the publicly traded equities, Vanguard, BlackRock, State Street, Holy Trinity. So as they mature, annuities. Yeah, that's what I was, for the record.
For the record, off the record.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So are you for his plan so far, or are you against it?
I'm not well versed in it tonight. Like, I'm just being real. I'm sick, and I don't have a formed enough opinion yet. But I don't. If we're going to do mass deportation, I just wanted to include everyone and not to be selective.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you know that's not going to happen. You know that. Like, you know that.
That's I'm like, how do you pull it off? It sounds good.
But the funny thing about it is that it's just so crazy how, like, white supremacy is probably one of the most powerful things ever created. Because everything is just, it has a gaze over it that nobody even questions, right? And Nelson Mandela, his book is a great book, and he said that white supremacy plays tricks on your mind. Like, he was like, in South Africa, when you saw a black person that was hungry on the streets, you looked right past them, you didn't think anything of it. But when you saw a white person, it was a tragedy, and you couldn't understand it. But that's because they looked at white people as superior than black people. That's white supremacy. And it's the same thing with immigration. When the story is told of Ellis Island, we had to go to Ellis Island from New York. You had to go to Ellis Island. That was part of the school trips. And they told us the story about how the poor Italians and Irish came to America with no money, barefoot, and how they worked their way up and how they helped, build the New York skyline. And they told us all of these great stories about the immigration. And they told us about all of these different things, right? From refugees, from the Holocaust, all of these different things. We were told these stories. We were taught these stories in school. And the stories were to say how much pride that the immigrant community came to America and carried their traditions, worked hard, and helped build the country, and how we actually owe them a debt. That's what they told us.
Yes.
Now when we look at immigrants from El Salvador and Venezuela, and Honduras and Mexico and Haiti, they're looked at as the worst people that ever was created, criminals, slum of the slums, the people that's poisoning the blood of America. We have to stop it. This is a crisis of unrecognizable proportions, and everybody believes this shit. And it's just interesting that white people are never looked at as illegal immigrants when there are white illegal immigrants, right? But white people never carry the stigma of being an immigrant, right?
Yeah.
And that's who influxed the country more than anybody. So it's just very interesting. Like I said, it just goes back to white supremacy. If the white people came here, well, they came here as, people that were saving themselves from a situation, and they worked. When black people come here, they looked at it like they're the worst people in the world, and we need to get them out of here as soon as possible. And everybody's going to rally behind that cry, and everybody's going to believe it, and nobody's going to ask questions, because you don't ask questions about white supremacy. You just accept it.
And then you get a Hawk Tuah coin that pops up and goes away. Boy, had somebody from El Salvador, they would have been locked up already. I don't want her to go to jail, but there is different.
2 million on the wake up. If we would have done that, we would have not only been exiled from the financial community, we would have been incarcerated in MDC on federal indictments.
What Puff? Big facts.
Right next door. Like, yes. You know what I'm saying? With no apology.
Girl, she logged offline and just called. She said, I'm tired. I'm going to bed. I said, damn, really? Okay. So just be mindful. A lot more scams. And unfortunately, somebody is going to pass or die over one of these rug pulls too. Be careful. Don't think because she got away with it that you'll be able to.
So let's talk about, okay. Reset the room, hit the like button and share.
Yes.
Okay. We have to talk about this very unfortunate situation. When Jay-Z was accused of rape of a 13-year-old girl, and that made news. And he immediately released a statement, pretty much saying that he's not the one for the games, right? That these are fake accusations that he's going to pursue to the fullest extent possible, make the lawyer pay. He talked about how the lawyer has a history of doing this, kind of like these people that just go after ambulance, and we call them ambulance chasers, right? Where it's like, oh, I broke my ankle, like you purposely fall and break your ankle, and then it's like, so this is a very
touchy.
It's a touchy situation, but it's a conversation that we definitely have to have, because I feel like it says a lot about the times that we're in, where somebody can just say anything, and it doesn't matter if it's true or not. Somebody's going to believe it just because it was said, and then there's going to be publications that are going to carry the story, and that's dangerous, because you could literally say anything. Like, I could just walk down the street right now and say, "Yo, Ian hit me in the back of my head, and I'm suing," right? And then it's like, "Yo, bro, we're in two different states. Like, what are you talking about?" But even so, then it goes to the court, and then it goes away. But then it's like, some people are never gonna forget that I said that you hit me in the back of your head, and then now you're that's in people's mind that, damn, you just hit an innocent person in the back. It's like, bro, I never even touched this person before. So I just feel like a lot of these situations are money grabs. A lot of times lawyers don't actually, this is good from an economic standpoint for people to understand. A lot of these lawyers don't actually get paid unless their clients win. So it's
incentivized.
Yeah. So it's like, but they'll take like 40%. So it's like, okay, if you don't really have any money, you could just say, okay, there's lawyers out here that'll just take any case possible. Because if they take 10, it's like venture capital. If you take 10 and you hit 1, then you won. So I'll sue Jay-Z, I'll sue Kanye, I'll sue, Pharrell, whatever. All I gotta do is just get 1. And then a lot of times what they try to do is the settlement. And that's something that people need to understand as well, because they're like, all right, well, why would you settle for something that you're not guilty of?
Yeah, that was Michael Jackson's mistake.
Yeah, if you saying, okay, look, we're gonna make this like how it's already made out, right? Who wants their reputation? Who wants to even have that associated with their name? So they come to you and they be like, all right, look, you're a billionaire. Just give us $250,000, $500,000. In the grand scheme of life, $500,000 is not going to hurt you, right? And then you make them sign an NDA, and they can never talk about it again, and they go away, and you pretty much just got extorted, and that happens. And Jay said that he wasn't going to go for that. He's not going to do that. But then it's like, that's why people would do that even if they're not guilty, because it's just like, yo, you know what, bro, I don't even feel like having my family going through this and all of this stuff.
Yeah.
But it does say a lot about the times that we're in, that you could just say anything, especially as a black man, and there's no defense. There's people will not only not believe you, but they will be celebratory in your demise, and just the opportunity to see you fall, that would be enough for them to actually have a celebration, and that's pretty scary.
Unfortunate. Yeah. I want to go back to the money conversation. I know Kanye got an accusation hurled at him earlier this year. She's filed for that, because if you know her, shout out to her, but Kanye had her on salary, and okay, cool. And now if this happens to Puff, then Jay, Drake through the song, is this a coordinated attack to take back all the equity and the wealth that has been built, and to keep us out of certain rooms and certain levels of wealth? Now, as far as this Jay story, I know y'all gonna think we're caping. I never heard this story, so this sounds a tad bit egregious. But there is a money grab and an orchestrated plan and then I've said it a couple months ago, like, we have no more hip-hop figureheads that run rap. I just said on Joe's podcast, what music, I'm not talking about black culture, but what creative culture do we have as African Americans if everyone else owns the distribution points but us? Don't own YouTube, don't own Spotify, don't own UMG, don't own, no, y'all don't want to join Tidal en masse. So it's just interesting to see if this worked over and over again, And they ran almost every icon that we have out of hip hop. And Ed Sheeran is doing Afro beats. Is this by happenstance, or is this an orchestrated plan of attack?
Or is it for sure. I think it's definitely orchestrated. And if you could take down a whole entire ruling class with one sword, from
the same allegation, I'm not dismissing the Puff stuff, but like some of this Jay-Z story, I never even heard this till this came up. Not that I'm tapped into every hip hop legend icon, but I never even heard a rumbling of this particular situation.
Because what you also do is not only take the wealth, ruin their reputation, but now you ruin future other business opportunities that they could potentially provide for other entrepreneurs. So now it's like, the person that he might have been able to stand next to, he might kind of not cool off for a little bit, right? So it's like if you take Russell Simmons, you take Diddy, you take Jay. I mean,
almost got Kanye.
Almost tried to get Kanye off of it. You start to say, okay, well, who's left? And I'm not saying that every single person is in this Jay thing. I think is bogus because that doesn't even sound believable. But the Puff situation, that's a different situation. He's going to have his day in court, and we'll see what happens. But I just feel like, I don't know, man. We gotta be mindful of this situation because, I mean, from Bill Cosby, it's the same thing that happens, and at a certain point in time, you start to look at things like, okay, boating accident. I don't like boats, right? That's what you said, right? Boat. I don't like boats.
Yo, and I know y'all put up the little pictures. He was on a boat this day. They got Michael Jackson, Prince, and Whitney in the same era. Like, y'all think this is for play, and I know because some of y'all like haven't got to where you want to get to. You want to like make jokes and shit. It's cool. You can be a class clown, but this is real shit that is going on in real time. You know who didn't deny it? TV, Gucci, Chubbs, or Drake. Their internet work.
That's a fact.
Mall, text, and communications work very well. Trust me, if I said something that was a lie, I would got a cease and desist already. Trust me. There's a bigger move at hand to keep us out of certain rooms and acquire certain levels of wealth at one time. Meanwhile, these catalogs are being taken and rolled into tech platforms for high valuations while they get blocked out. And if he goes down, there won't be no more vibes at the Super Bowl. I will tell you that for sure.
It's over. And they rolled back this DEI. Like Toby, shout out to Toby. We interviewed him and he was like, remember in 2020, like when everybody, like black people was you was in a position of power. That was the time when black people was in a position of power. Like, yo, we want to see who's on your board, and they said billions of dollars they had to pledge, and people was all this money was getting. Then they like, nah, we're not doing this, and now they rolled everything back, and now they like, no, to the extreme point of like, no, we killing DEI, right? Like, and it's like,
over what?
Is you kill power structure a few different ways.
Yep.
If they can't, somebody said this a long time ago. If they can't kill you, they'll assassinate your character.
Yep.
That's the next. If they can't physically kill you, they will assassinate your character. It's happened to every black leader that we've had, right? Either they got physically killed or they assassinated their character, and to the point where their own people turned on them and they got looked at as a sellout, or they got looked at as they're embezzling money, or they, infidelity, or they scandals about, their sexual life, stuff like this. Happened to every single person. Either they physically killed you, or you didn't pay your taxes one year and you ended up in jail, or you all of a sudden are a communist, or all of a sudden now you get caught up in pedophilia. Is it a coincidence? I just don't know. I don't know if that's a coincidence.
I don't think so. When things happen, once again, go to Wikipedia, go to the list of all the rappers that have died, and there's 2 or 3 main causes. There's correlation. That's scary to see. I know some of them grew up in urban environments. I know some of them had gang ties. But when you have a ratio of like 70% of people being killed through overdose and accidents, I don't think all of that is that accidental, while the label keeps the insurance.
And you guys that are supporting this shit, you should be ashamed of yourself too. Because why are you so happy to spread this message of somebody? Like I said, let the courts play it out. But you guys are doing it. You guys are doing the work free on social media. We didn't post, like, we didn't want to post about it because there's no need. Like, you keep posting about this, and then you want to, have your, this happened in 1998. So that kind of corroborates the story. Like, you turn into online investigators, and you're actually part of the problem. You're actually part of the problem because you're doing the work for them.
And also too, for all the men, don't move around in a nasty fashion. And on top of that, think about what can harm you in the future that you need to stop doing today. This the main when people are like, yo, you so nonchalant with the. You're not going to catch me being thirsty over anything. I'm not going to force nothing. No, never. I'm cool.
And I'll say this, Jay is just doing, like, people like, yo, you what's the word that they use? Blazing for Jay, And I'm like, yo, we met Jay one time. We had a brief conversation, but I don't have a personal relationship with Jay. He never, we don't, like, we have relationships with people. Like, some people we have working relationships with. What I'm trying to say is that there's no benefit in us.
There's no vested interest.
But some things are just right and some things are just wrong. He's done too much for culture. Like, not take us out of it, right? He's done too much for culture, for Black people, for creatives, for musicians,
for artists. Yeah, you
can't do that. Like, you can't throw somebody like that away to the wolves. Like, you got to protect people like this. You got to protect people. Like, no matter how you feel about him, and I'm like, oh, he's Illuminati and all that type shit. He from the projects. This is an actual fact, right? You see somebody from Marcy Projects that came up through the streets, that figured it out, that became a billionaire, that fucking paid for 21 Savage's lawyers to keep them in the country, that paid Lil Wayne's taxes, that Uzi Vert, like,
help Wayne.
The stories go on. Like, is he a perfect person? They like the Dame Dash says, no, of course not. Everybody's not perfect, but the bottom line is that he's done a lot for culture. That's just the bottom line. Even the Super Bowl debate is stupid because it's like Kendrick Lamar is the first rapper to ever headline a Super Bowl. They're gonna be like, well, Dr. Dre was a medley of different people, and Dr. Dre had to be put with Eminem and Mary J. Blige. There's never been a rapper, a solo rapper, to headline a Super Bowl. That's never happened before, and that's only happened because Jay-Z curated it. Right? That's a step. He's helping to push the culture forward, and the first rapper is a conscious rapper. It's not somebody that is negative or degrading the situation. So the first person that got put on the highest platform in American sports is somebody that is actually somebody that you can look at it and draw inspiration from, right? This is somebody that you can actually have your kids listen to their music. This is somebody that's positive, and that's curated through Jay-Z. So I just feel like, just be careful. Everything is not a joke. And sometimes you just got to really protect people that are important. And he's important, not only to us, he's important to everybody, but especially to our culture. Like, no matter how you feel about it, Jay's important, and he's too important to just have this type of situation.
I know what the critics are going to say. If you defended Puff and you defend Jay, is there any correlation? I already know what the internet going to say, so let's just jump the gun.
Correlation with what?
If he had any bad involvement that would hurt him going forward.
Well, I never defended Puff. But I also say that I'm not going to be Puff's prosecutor either. That's not my job.
That's your job.
So let
the record reflect.
Let due process. We have a criminal justice system here in America, and you're innocent until proven guilty. That's not my opinion. That's the law of the land. You're innocent until proven guilty. So as of right now, in my book, he's innocent because he has not been proven guilty. Yeah. So when you get proved guilty, then you get proved guilty. But it's also, like I said, I mean, and that's true with anybody. But this is even a different situation in Puff because Puff has criminal charges. This is a civil lawsuit, which they already tried to have mediation. They already tried to get money out of the situation. So this is not a criminal charge. This is a different situation. Completely. They're like apples and oranges, right? But they're trying to tie it all together because once you can get public perception, people don't, people don't read.
Once they muddy your name.
Yeah, yep. Once they put a picture with you next to Puff, and it's like, oh yeah, now he's the number one person, right? Like, you know, it's just, and now you start to go down this rabbit hole without any proof or any real documentation.
Meanwhile, even though they're not the same situation, they officially released that COVID was created out of a lab in Wuhan, which I said 2 years ago, Market Mondays, and Kyrie hasn't got one fucking apology about the efficacy of any vaccine, and that shit almost destroyed his life. Why aren't the real topics that really, even the Drake, like the DEI, anytime you hear kill wokeism and DEI, just think of they don't want nobody black to have any equity in anything. That's like a kind way of saying it, right? So if Drake is going through this battle at the same time, and this has been hurled, and he's owed money, and they get Jay and they get Puff, and at one point Yeezy catalog and Adidas was worth more than everything else they had in combination to that company. You think they liked that Kanye took over a German company? This in 5 years.
Things that make you go,
What? I love Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs can make no fucking shoe. Not the soul like that. What? Then they slowed up the audio product he had coming up, and he was one of the first ones before Drake to bring out, well, let's just put out the contracts on Twitter and let's see what the language is in. Then all of a sudden
the one page. I thought he was on his one page shit. Like if a contract more than one page, it's a fact. That's a fact. That's a fact.
So, but no one's talking about the virus.
Well, let's not talk about that either, because the show's called Blackout, not Lights Out. So
yes, true.
We have to remain. We have to remain. And some things,
yes,
some things are out of balance.
He talked about. Yep.
Some things. Visa Islam. You got ask Visa Islam.
It's not worth it. Everything isn't worth being talked about.
That's a fact. Because the audience is not going to when they cut your lights out.
They're not gonna put them on for you.
No, nobody's going to care. They're not going to have a GoFundMe for you. Be like, yo, nah, Ian, you fought the good fight. They want you to crash out for personal entertainment purposes, but we're not doing that. We're not going to be kamikazes.
No.
For your own personal enjoyment. No,
I'm cool. No, but we may like fake a little beef or something, but real crash outs, real. No, I'm cool.
No,
what's called blackout? Nope. My favorite phrase: mitigation of risk.
That is a fact. Let's talk about some political topics. Trump versus Trudeau. So, President of Canada, I think he's the Prime Minister of Canada, met with President-elect Trump, and it was an interesting story where we talked about tariffs. We talked about this tariffs play. I talked about Market Mondays a few weeks ago, but he wants to implement higher tariffs, taxes on imports that are brought in from Canada. Trudeau told him, for what they're saying, that, it was like kind of like a joking situation, like that's going to really kind of cripple our economy. And then Trump was like, well, you have an alternative, to become a 51st state of America. And they said they kind of like laughed it off. But Trump, man, just to even say something like that is legendary. What are your thoughts?
My only question is, when everyone laughed it off, did he? I don't think he was playing. Like, I haven't called nobody on that side of the administration, but when I heard it, and they were like, yeah, everyone in the room laughed. I'm like, I bet you Trudeau and Trump did not. Will this happen? No, but it goes back to the thought of, even in tech, there's certain language that is rooted in slavery. Now skip over that, but the acquisition rate of certain industries into others, even going back to what we talked about in Market Mondays, like the PayPal mafia has invaded the White House. Like, David Sachs has an important position and probably will never leave, and he was brilliant enough to think about how to exit out of Yammer and plan this media run. And it's the crazy part, because him and Chamath Palihapitiya are tight. I can see Chamath being in very soon. Yeah. So if you got power and worked your way up through the ranks and you understand the emotions of people, being that Chamath was one of the first hires at Facebook and incredibly vital there at that time, they can have a hold on the country for the next 16 to 20 years with that administration. So I don't think Trump was joking. Will it happen? Probably not. But it goes to show while our debt is becoming higher, he's going to find more ways to take over. And from the Trudeau and Canada side, if you don't have leverage, you're going to always have a way to lose. You got to keep an ace in your pocket to be able to play when your back is against the wall.
No, that's a fact. I mean, Trump, man,
a different breed.
Hell of a guy,
different
man.
Breed.
Hell of a guy. Get down and lay down. If get down and lay down was a person,
pretty much.
That's who he would be. And you know, it was crazy because they was somebody was telling us, they're like, you know, Trump. They're like, you know, Trump comes from real estate in the 80s and 90s in New York, and it was cutthroat, 70s cutthroat. Like, you know, you had to really earn your spot. And they were saying, it was like Sammy the Bull has said this before, and he was like, you know, Trump can't be shaken down because we tried. He was like, the Gambino
at one time. Yep.
He said he tried. He's like, nah, we tried. He's like, yo, we tried. Because that's what they used to. So for you guys that don't know, it was a whole racket back in those days of a few people, but the mafia specifically, they would shake down real estate developers. And for a variety of different things, they would make sure that they would get the construction jobs, or they would get, you know, a lot of these guys was cleaning their money through different real estate. So that's like in a movie. What's that movie? Bronx Tale?
Probably, yeah.
When they was like, what do you do? And he was like, I'm in construction. Because that was like one of those things, sanitation, construction. Like, you know, it was one of those, the mafia had their hands in that heavy. So it was like, you building a building? Okay, we're going to come in. We're going to put our guys on it. We're going to do this. We're going to need 20%. And they was like, they tried to shake down Trump. And he said he didn't go for it. So I say that to say he's very well versed with the extortion play and strong arm tactics. And once again, he's like a Putin, not in the sense of he didn't come up the ranks as Putin did as far as military, but he came up a different type of ranks. So he understands that
the underworld.
There's predators and there's prey.
Yep.
That's human. Yeah. That's what the safari is, right? Like, there's predators, and then there's prey, and the prey's job is to not get eaten by a predator, and the predator's job is to eat the prey.
Yep.
And the only thing a predator respects is another predator. Chris Gotti told me that. Shout out to Chris. I was talking to him about Suge, because him and Suge got a real good relationship, and he was like, "Yo, Suge is a predator," and he was like, you know, but me, I'm from that. I know that cloth. So he was like, you know, we never had a problem because predators respect predators. He's like, once they know that you're prey,
it never stops.
You're gonna get devoured.
Yep, and it's a good lesson in business too. People are going to try in different ways to get money out of your pockets. You have to say, now, I remember when my Telegram got hacked from the little Russian Iranian group who tried to, well, give us this and I'll start over. Some of y'all even be doing that. Yo, you know, give me a refund, Red Panda. I know I joined 3 years ago. If not, I'm going to talk bad about you online. Talk bad. Cool. If I get extorted in Chicago and Gary, you think I'm going to let somebody extort me online over an opinion? Man, me and Rashad do fucking blackout 4 days a week. Yeah, I wish you would. You go, what? Nah, fuck you. For the record,
you can't,
and I'll shut you down and won't let nobody join. All right, cool.
You can't negotiate with terrorists.
You can't, because the first time somebody takes you, it's going to be nonstop. But what do I know? Blessings to y'all. People going to try it though. But
they're going to try it.
Trudeau.
They're going to try it. So let's staying within the political world, man.
I thought Syrian said no politics.
Well, from an observer standpoint, the Syrian regime fell. Assad, you know, their family ruled Syria for 5 decades. His father ruled before he did, and you know, he's been having conflicts for a long time, trying to maintain power. And he was backed by Russia and it fell. The rebels took over the city very quickly, and he ended up in Moscow.
Okay, interesting placement and timing.
I'm here. Hey guys.
Okay, you open the door real quick. I need to camp out with you real quick, my boy. Okay,
it's gonna be a cold winter, man. I'm sure the weather's a lot different than Syria. But yeah, he's been granted asylum. Him and his family have been granted asylum in Russia. So I mean, it's just interesting from a geopolitical standpoint. The Middle East, man. I mean, it's one of these things. Once again, this is called blackout, not lights out. So the Middle East topic, if you think we're going to crash out about that, you're wrong.
Never in life.
You're wrong.
Sorry. We'll bring it up. Just same with the whole thing. We'll bring it up just so okay, cool.
That's a fact. You could do your own Google search and go down a rabbit hole by yourself if you want to.
Above my pay grade.
But just know that there's a lot of extenuating circumstances that dictate these instability in the region. But what does this mean? Because it's interesting, because there's always look at it, it's like all this is just a game, right? So it's like the rebels, they're backed by Turkey. Assad, he was backed by Russia. Sure, the CIA has his hand in this situation.
We don't know it to be true.
So it's like, when
allegedly. Allegedly.
But that's the crazy thing too. It's like, it's once again, the white supremacy thing is interesting. I talked about how the immigrants thing, right? And it's like when they said Russia was meddling in the US elections on Facebook and all that, and it was just a travesty. Like, how could a country mess with democracy? Like, that's the worst thing that you can do. America has been doing that for 100 years. So, but it's like in every country you're doing this, and you go to Africa, you Kwame Nkrumah. We went to Ghana, and this is documented. This is he was killed by his opposition that killed him was backed by the CIA. That's a fact. This came out. So it's like when Ian, you there?
Oh, I had a great what?
So when you start meddling,
blood dropped, my body got cold for a second. Hold on, wait.
But when you start meddling in different people's politics, you can't expect people not to meddle in your politics. So it's just really interesting how every powerful country does this. China, Russia, America, France. So it's not just an American issue. Every powerful country, if you have power as a country, you do this. You meddle in other people's countries and you have your own personal agendas. But it's just a really dangerous game to play, because we did this in Afghanistan. We backed the rebels because they wanted to defeat Soviet Union. And at that time, the Soviet Union was the biggest threat to democracy. That's what they was telling us. So we backed rebels in Afghanistan, and they had a tremendous victory. That's a historic win, and the country was destroyed, and we never rebuilt the country. And Osama bin Laden. That's how he came. That's how he became. That's the whole story behind this whole situation of the Taliban. That was a vacuum that was supported by the United States government. So it's like it's hard to see how the future plays out. Sometimes you just have short-term agendas that you want to push through, but you don't know the long-term effects. Not only could be bad for that country, but it could be bad for your country as well.
Never have I wanted to talk about who's better between Michael Jordan and LeBron so bad. You're right, but I'm trying to run it up, and so are you. So tune in to Beyonce's halftime performance for the Christmas game. Back to you. Hey, for all of y'all, but you done got too political and we want leather jacket and da-da-da. Bro, I want to live. I want to live. But you're right. I agree. I concur. So,
but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Like I said,
we'll see.
I'm not saying that him leaving was a good or bad thing, but I'm just saying that it's just geopolitics are very interesting when you pick sides. And that's dangerous.
And in times of civil unrest, do these things tend to happen when the economy is going well or there's a lot of fluctuation? It's a lot of stuff going on. Whenever, like I keep saying it, for there to be 7 companies that the world is focusing on and all this infighting, regime change, like the thing that I've been looking at is who became president or prime ministers, the changing in the PRI and PAN party in Mexico. And there's a lot of moving parts on the chessboard where it's like, this shit's like Game of Thrones in real life. So be mindful.
Yeah. Well, okay. Switching gears.
Thank you so much.
The crisis of the black family. Let's play this clip.
There's a talk I give on the 5 biggest challenges black people have for the next 100 years. The number 1 challenge is the existential crisis of the black family. The existential crisis of the black family. Marriage in our culture is down to 34%. When we were growing up, it was 85%. It's now down to 34%. 71% of our sisters are not married, 29% will never get married, 63% of our brothers are not married, 30% of them will never get married. There is no culture in the history of humankind that has risen to maximize their full human potential without family at the center of their culture. This only exists. This is an interesting but negative statistic. This phenomenon of the existential crisis of our family only exists among African American black people. It does not exist on the continent or anywhere else in the diaspora. So there must be something in the water. We must fix this. It is a lot easier said than done because it is impacting our wealth. Quick statistics. For 350 years, household median income was dominated by white people. They were number 1 in this country. They no longer are number 1, they're number 3, and there's a reason for it. So, who has the highest household median wealth in America? It's East Indians, $104,000 a year. What's the marriage rate in the East Indian culture? 94%. 2 are working. Who's number 2? Chinese Asians. Household median income, $110,000 a year. Marriage rate close to 70%. Number 3 are white people. Household median income, $88,000 a year. What's the marriage rate? Almost 50%. Down significantly. Number 4 are Hispanics. Household median income, $61,000 a year. Marriage rate close to 70%. We are at the bottom. Household median income, $55,000 a year. Marriage rate, 34%. And projected based on facts and statistics that if we do not fix this, because white folks ain't fixing this, our marriage rate will be in the low teens in the next 20 years. We must, this is an enormous challenge. That's a whole talk by itself on how do we fix it. It can be fixed, but we have to, first of all, understand that this is a problem. No one's talking about this problem. This is a huge problem. It's the number 1 problem in our culture. So we must fix it.
Oh. Okay, interesting perspective. What's your thoughts?
He went crazy on the subject, and I agree. I can't prove it, but I believe even the 50-50 debate, the man sphere, woman sphere, I think that was done by design to create separation in our, and not that other races don't have these conversations. I just don't see them happen at scale. And I think if you have a concerted effort to destroy wealth, how you do in hip hop right now for the last 7 years, it's documented that there's been a declaration of war against the black family. And I think one of the things that definitely stops us is if there's no family core, you can't have any unity in like the Pan-African movement. Umar, you'd be great for the segment. But I think there's a concerted effort to keep the black family apart. And I agree, it definitely creates and makes that wealth gap a lot harder to close. And one of the best investing lessons I ever heard was for one person to work and the other person to put all the money into the market. Shout out to Dr. Pleasant of Clark Atlanta University. Shout out to Art. But if there's no united front and no family structure, we can't make any progress. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's an easy answer. I don't think that there's anybody that would disagree with that. I mean, of course, if you have more families, then you would have a better chance at having economic mobility. You have more money. You have, I mean, from every standpoint, it's better to have more families as opposed to, single parent homes. So,
or should we do like Nick Cannon and have multiple families? These are just jokes.
Shout out to Nick.
Shout out to Nick. I love Nick dearly.
He just said he's a narcissist. He just said he's a narcissist. Is everybody a narcissist?
Whenever we break up, yes. Can y'all get another word for 2025? Because the narcissism was working really well when you got to travel and take trips and tighten up industry shit, and then you break up oh, he was a narcissist. Girl, there's enough footage on me to tell you about my personality type. Stop. So, but I commend him I do think that interview with Dr. Bryant hit home for him and Cam. And I think it brought up some considerations on if having all those kids were causing conflict and causing broken homes. I think that may be one of the most important clips that she had. But as far as him being a flat out narcissist, I don't know. Nick seemed pretty cool every time we met him. So,
it's one of these things, man, where this narcissist thing is interesting, right? Because, like you said, it's become a buzzword. It's become a buzzword with people,
especially in the argument, right?
So, here's ChatGPT's 40-word definition. A narcissist is an excessively self-focused, seeking admiration, and often lacks empathy. Traits include entitlement, arrogance, and exploiting others. They prioritize their needs, crave attention, and may manipulate or dismiss others, impacting relationships. Extreme narcissism may require professional intervention. To me, that's a 50-50 ball. 50% of that is actually needed. You have to be excessively self-focused. That's what I'm saying. You want people want the best of something, but not all of it. In order for Michael Jordan to become Michael Jordan, he had to be excessive. That's what Shannon Sharp told us. If you're trying to become the highest level possible and then be able to provide a certain lifestyle I've never met a person that had achieved the high level of success that was not excessively self-focused. And by being excessively self-focused, you block things out and you're not paying attention to every single thing that might be a character flaw, but that's also a character trait that has helped you become so super successful. So it's from that standpoint, I look at it I don't know, seeking admiration. We all have a need for admiration. It's human nature. Some people have more need than others, but that validation can also drive you to do great things as well. Lacking empathy, too much empathy can get you hurt.
Tell me more. How? Because
you care, when you care too much about situations, everybody's you're gonna become a sucker. Yo, I got this situation. I'm down on my luck. I'm down. Sometimes this is gonna sound cold, but sometimes you gotta just not give a fuck. The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. It's a
great book. It's a great book to read. And I've said it before. You can give your way into poverty. I know a bunch of people who may have made 200,000-300,000 and no one supported them before, and they found to get 150 out of them with sob stories.
Yep. And nobody's gonna have sympathy when you go broke
at all.
And so entitlement is never a good thing. So I'm not. That's the 50. That's bad. Arrogance can go either way. Once again, what is arrogance? Some people might say confident. It's a thin line between being confident and being arrogant.
Yeah.
Right.
Are we narcissists? Let's wake it up.
Well, that's how I'm going through this. Because they said, arrogance is sometimes you need to be arrogant. You said that you was the master investor when you first came out, right? Like you said, and you've said this consistently, that you're the master investor, the greatest you said you're the greatest investor of our generation.
And I say that because no one has helped more black people in the market than me.
But what I'm saying is, some people might say that that's arrogant.
For
You're
sure.
you saying that that's confidence, and that's something that I have to say because you got flowers on your jacket because nobody's gonna give you. You got to take it.
Big facts.
So
my theme, System Best Fest. Yep.
Exactly. So if we're saying earn your leisure, we're the biggest. This is something that people could this is an arrogant statement to make, but it's like, no, we're looking at this like it's a factual statement to make, but you got to say bold claims to draw attention. That's part of marketing. So
yeah,
I feel like they tell you to tone it down to keep, because nobody at the highest level has toned shit down. Elon Musk ain't turned down yet.
Not one bit, bro. He getting worse. He's getting fucking worse. Yo, Elon acting like Kanye did 3 years ago. I'm not gonna lie. I've never seen him retweet and repost shit as much. I'm like, what? Okay.
Elon Musk has not turned down yet. Donald Trump has not turned down yet.
Turned down for what? It's working.
And they told, that's what they
MAGA has not turned down for what?
And they tried.
DEI technically should be illegal to say that.
Americans especially respect the turn up. We don't respect the turn down. Everybody say like, yo, they want you to be humble. You don't respect when people are humble. You look at them as like they're weak.
Yeah. And ladies, I want you to go through your little list. The ones that you like the most and gave the most loving to. Were they more narcissistic or more humble? Like, women can train us how to behave too. I'll say that. If y'all rewarded the good guy, non-narcissist, there would be more of us in the field. Not that I'm saying that it's right, but even the MAGA group, like, the destruction of DEI should be illegal, and they don't care. January 6th happened. They don't care. Like, that's a deeper war that is being fought.
Have you been called a narcissist?
Several times. Never when we went to Bahamas, though, or Turks. It's funny how that works. When them points go away, you know what I mean? And that Baccarat Rouge, you know what I mean? Little pop-up packages come. Never you're the sweetest, most thoughtful man ever in life. And then when I be like, finito. You're an asshole. I see why they make those review videos about you. Like, oh, you should let me know that before I took you to motherfucking Miami twice. You know what I mean? Okay, cool. I see you. Let's see what the next one does. Not the gifts and trips are everything, but
that's a fact.
Yeah.
That's a fact. And if you're a narcissist, embrace it. Everybody's crazy. Everybody got some shit.
Yeah, true.
Don't let the world make you feel you're not good enough.
I feel like you calm down some though.
Narcissists are needed. They're needed.
Tell me more.
The people that the world remember are narcissists. Alexander the Great, Napoleon, Ramses. He had 62 wives. You don't think that he was self-focused on himself? He's a narcissist.
Dude, that's a lot of women to take care of, yo. 62. Oh, and if half their periods line up at the same time, oh my God. Oh Lord. So 62 a bit much. 4, 5.
Julius Caesar. This guy Alexander. There's an Alexandria. There's an Alexandria in every continent. Think about that.
That's true.
There's an Alexandria in Egypt. There's an Alexandria in Europe. There's an Alexandria in Virginia. You don't think that he was a narcissist?
When does the narcissism go too far, though?
When you kill somebody.
Oh my God.
These are just jokes.
Written by 85 South.
A little too long.
For real.
And Adam Schulz. Speaking of Adam Schulz.
Andrew Schulz.
And
shout to Drew. Well, depending on the context. I may call Drew. I'll talk to Drew this weekend. I was like, boy, the block is hot.
Speaking of Schulz. Okay. He's saying he's getting death threats now because come on, man.
Yeah.
It's interesting that he just needs to just get off of this topic. Like, why is he talked about the black woman thing? Kendrick made the lyric. Then he comes that shit about raping Kendrick Lamar was weird to me.
Yeah, it was too far. I was too far. Yeah, I'm not into and I told him, I'm like, you can joke back. I'm not mad at that, but the buck breaking and the historical significance of that, being a white man, you can't say that. And I know Kendrick has faked and y'all into thinking like he's an angel. Kendrick is not a person that you want to play with, or Top, or anybody in that crew. I'm gonna leave it at that. Kendrick is nothing. He's no easy walk in the park. I'll say that. But anytime you cross these racial lines, you're going too far. Like, I'm not with the buck breaking, even joking about it. I think I told him he has every right to joke back, but once you say that shit, no, that's never gonna sit well with me or anybody who's black. And I get licensing and like for comedians, but you can't say whatever you want and not have any consequences to pay.
But my thing is,
I don't think that should be threatening this kid and shit like that. But
why would you even say that though? Like, what in your mind thought that was a good? Because it wasn't like just a one thing. Like, he elaborated on it. Like, yo, I could sit him on my lap and and there's nothing that he could do. And it's like you thought this through. Like, you know what I mean? Like, in full capacity. I'm just like, that's kind of a weird thought to have. But that's not even. I ain't even. When he said, I'm watching, I'm like, that's not even funny. The dudes he was with, they thought it was funny. They was laughing, but just from a pure comedic standpoint, it wasn't really funny to me. So I don't know. I just felt like sometimes, comics go too far, but I don't know why you would feel comfortable talking about like taking somebody's manhood.
Yeah, but historically, some races have joked about that because that's what they used to do.
That's a fact.
So
that's a fact.
I don't think Alex laughed. I didn't see the whole clip, but I don't think Alex laughed while he was on the couch. That's my guy. I'm not defending Schulz in any way for saying that. So I'll talk to him like, hey, can't say that. But now, as far as going back and forth, he did say, hey, I'm not gonna stop about Kendrick. If he keeps going back and forth, I'm gonna go back and forth. But one thing that Charlamagne has said, and I've always agreed, you can never be mad at a person's reply to your disrespect. So you have to be mindful of the energy you put out in the world. And once again, Kendrick and that whole West Coast clique, go watch Power and tell me if you think Kendrick is tight. That performance was too great for me to think that Kendrick not a problem in real life. Please be careful. Please be careful.
Yeah.
So. Oh, but also too, if anyone feels so vehemently, and we say this about any vulture, Adam, my favorite vulture to pick on, who it's not that bad, Vlad, whomever gets put in that box. Is anybody black gonna do anything to stop their business or actually do something to them to make them do differently?
Yeah.
Everybody talk the vulture shit and won't say nothing to the vulture.
That's a fact.
Because they don't want their lights to get cut off. Or potential. So I'm not saying for y'all to go beat up Schulz. I'm not saying that. But like, if we feel so strongly about vultures, when is something going to be done?
Yeah.
And also, I don't want to go here, but there's people around that could have checked some of that shit too. But I'm sick. I don't feel like rebel rousing. When I feel better and get some use next year.
Thank you. Okay, Candace Owens. She's always interesting when she speaks. So let's play this clip, please.
I will not accept. The conspiracy to me is to try to convince me that the times have changed and we went from, in the black community, producing Michael Jackson and Whitney Houston to what really black people really want to hear right now is Sexy Red. And so that's the reason why these record labels are going to Sexy Red and offering her a deal. I refuse to believe that. So yes, power is held by these labels when they go out, and I don't mean that as any disrespect to her. Yeah. What I am saying is that frequencies are real, okay?
Exactly.
Frequencies impact your spirit.
There's been brothels and strip clubs and stuff since the oldest profession
I'm talking about music, and you are correct, but Confucius said, listen to the music.
And you'll be able to know the
and there's a reason for that.
Society.
This people, in my viewpoint, have a lot of power in the music industry, also understand that. There is no reason to fight to put filth on the airways and then try to convince people that it's free speech.
Because it's
in fact,
profitable.
I will tell you, these people are being pushed in a certain direction. Women, you're being told, can you make it sexier?
Yes.
Okay. Female rap tearing down our community.
I think it goes back. I think the overall arching thought today is just on the construct that is white supremacy. I hate to use that term, but once again, if other cultures own the majority rights of all creative works that we do, you don't think they're going to incentivize certain people to do certain things that are not best for our community. So if they've poisoned, pillaged, changed the education system, not allowed us access to banks, access to information, they've redlined for a certain amount of years, Jim Crow, they gonna stop at the fucking music?
Yeah.
Y'all shut down neo soul after it got like what?
Yeah. I think it's one of these things. I mean, once again, it's a short answer. Is female rap ruining our community? Of course it is. But
yes,
drill rap's ruining our community. Alcohol is ruining our community. Online gambling is ruining our community. A variety of different things are ruining our community, you know, having broken homes and mass incarceration. So it's not like this is, but it is something to be said because there's no balance. And that's people be like, you know, there is balance. There's Rhapsody, but like, I love Rhapsody, but you're not listening to Rhapsody. You're not, let's just be honest. Yep. So it's like, Jay Electronica said this. He was like, stripper poles and something for the eyes of my daughter. And it's like, that's what your daughter's looking at, right? If your daughter's looking at Sexy Red and Young Miami and X, Y, and Z, you can just go down the list, right? And that they're looking at these women, they don't even dress, and like they're not even actually wearing clothes anymore. They've turned stripper leotards into club outfits. Fishnets, the fishnets used to be a staple in strip clubs that some states are not allowed to be fully nude. So like you've turned fishnets into a Friday night outfit.
And it wasn't meant for that.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, nah, they've taken this on a whole different level as far as the over sexualization, everything. Like Megan Thee Stallion, I only see her when she's twerking. Like she goes viral for just twerking. Like Elliot Wilson is gonna post her every 2 weeks only because she's just twerking. That's it.
Yeah.
Right. I wouldn't even see her on my algorithm if it wasn't for that.
Did she twerk at the DNC? Having twerked on stage, crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Interesting decision.
It's done by design. I think it's just one spoke and a big wheel in the destruction. I keep saying it like shout out to Coach Love. The destruction of the black man and black family is up for sale. And we're watching it in real time. They're monetizing it. They're monetizing the destruction at scale. So
and it's embarrassing. I be feeling embarrassed because I always look at it like, all right, if you're a male rapper, right, and you go in a room with these white executives, and you know you can't even talk properly, and you know you like, I be thinking to myself like, that's embarrassing. Like, and then the same thing with the female rappers. Like, I be looking at like, yo, you going on stage and you shaking your ass and you doing all this, and I'm just looking at this shit like it's embarrassing because it's like you like how you think like power structure like views you at the highest level possible, right? Like when they're looking at this shit, like it's like embarrassing.
Image.
And nobody else is doing that. Like, there's no other culture that's doing that. There's no other culture that's doing that. They can be like, well, X, Y, and Z. No, but I'm talking about every single person, every single female rapper that's popping follows the same blueprint. Every single one. And like I said, the ones that don't follow it, that's nice, but they haven't sold 1 million records. They're not selling out arenas. I don't want to hear about none of them until they become Lauryn Hill. Lauryn Hill she broke the mold. Missy Elliott broke the mold, but that was 25 years ago. Every single superstar female rapper has followed the same blueprint for the last 15 years to 20 years.
Yeah. And you can argue even after Lauryn broke the mold, they actively tried to destroy her life. Interesting. So
says a lot about the times that we're in.
Yeah, it's definitely done by design.
Yeah. Okay. I want to talk about this 48 Laws of Power thing because I have some.
Okay.
I got a few that's really good.
You have a few. Okay, you want to do 3?
Yeah. Always say less than necessary. Vitally important. I feel like so many times people just talk too much. We talked about that before as far as like it's not necessary to just a lot of words are wasted.
Mm-hmm.
Always say less than necessary. Guard your reputation at all costs. Vitally important.
Very important.
That's one thing I learned from like watching these documentaries about dictators. They have violent suppressions on anybody that tries to come up against them. Now that's an extreme, but I understand it from a psychological standpoint because you can't let once you let the rumorings happen, and that's why the Jay-Z thing is vitally important, right? Because it's like you throw that out there, you got to respond within a minute, and you got to aggressively go after this person, and you got to make an example to the point where Tasha, who was the one that was talking about Jay on all of these? Piers Morgan.
Oh, Jaguar, right?
Where's she been?
I mean, delisted now.
That's what I'm saying. But that's because you got to make public examples of people. So guard your reputation is vitally important. Man, this is a lot of shit.
It's a lot.
Court attention at all costs, vitally important. You got to get attention, and there's different ways to get attention. Some people is going to be more loud, flashy, like said, like you did it by saying that you're the greatest investor of our generation. That's going to cause people to be interested.
The hornet's nest. Yep.
What's he talking about? Who is he? Let me look into it. Let me follow. Let me see what's going on.
Yeah.
If I made you money, put yes in chat. Like that's going to be a catchphrase that becomes a slogan. That's going to garner attention, right? And I feel like you got to find a way to get attention. Now, it can be done. It doesn't have to be like loud, but you got to find a way to stay relevant, to get attention, to stay in the forefront of people's, because people's so fickle and they have short memories. So you could be lit last year and then nobody cares about you this year. You got to constantly find ways. That's the never deliver strategy. We talked about that before. We talked about that before a million times. Like everything we're gonna do, we're gonna just keep doing it. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. We're gonna go to Ghana. Because you gotta always stay in the news cycle.
Yeah, you have to.
What's some of yours?
Man, there's so many. And even if you don't like the book, it's a book that you need to read to know when people are using these against you. But I've always said that. Number one, crush your enemy totally. Like it's a mistake to leave someone room to come back and potentially destroy you in a battle. Create compelling spectacles. So like when it's time to show up, so like even InvestFest, the band, like not only people expecting the presentation to be good, but let me put something else on top of it to wow the crowd over. Because my thing is I'm not like competing against other people that are presenting. I'm like competing against the number one rated show on TV or boxing or MMA. Like Floyd has done it incredibly well to like build a spectacle. Man, keep your hands clean. Play a sucker to catch a sucker. Like I'll be very well versed on investing because this is my lane. A bunch of other areas, I'll play dumb and get the information that I need, or act as if I don't know, so a person can reveal the true intention. So But the one that I probably applied the most is to talk less, for sure. I definitely believe, especially in war, talking is a liability.
It's overrated.
Overrated. Better. And I used to wonder why, like, you'll play the back and just don't. I asked my dad, like, why are you not saying you don't want to be seen? You just he like, I want to watch. I can learn everything I need to just by watching. So
that's a fact. That's a fact.
Yeah.
So can we do this? Can we play this clip from YouTube about the biggest simps and
oh my god,
in movie history? Let's play that.
Yes.
I thought this was pretty funny. So
at the number 5 spot, we got Gerard from Boomerang. Fell out with his boy Marcus, lifelong friend, over Angela. Angela didn't even want him. Friend zoned him. Got mad because she wanted his man. Cornball. Pack him up, son. At the number 4 spot, we got B Rabbit from 8 Mile. My man met Shorty once, smashed once on the first time he met her. Thought it was his girl. Beat the shit out of Wink over Shorty. She was a whole smut. Pack him up, son. At the number 3 spot, we got Edward from Pretty Woman. This dude is a legendary simp. Wifed up a toot after 3 days. Not a call girl, not a stripper, a streetwalker. Wifed her. This dude is this nasty work right here, son. At the number 2 spot, we got Forrest Gump, son. The only reason Forrest is not getting the number 1 spot is because of his mental condition. But my man was simping since he was a little boy. Jenny did him all the way filthy, then died on him and left him with the baby. Come on, man. Pack Forrest up, son. And at the number 1 spot, Sam Rothstein. I don't even know where to start with this dude. This dude is the most legendary simp in movie history. Ginger done did everything you could do to a man, and he would not leave. Did drugs, kidnapped his kid, took his money, everything to him, and he would not leave. From the beginning, she even told him, I don't love you. He like, I don't care. We don't gotta love each other. Love comes later. Legendary nasty work right here. Number 1 spot.
Shout out to this brother. I just randomly just came across my feed today, but I just thought that shit was kind of funny as hell because I'm a big movie guy and I watched a lot of these movies that he's referring to. So when he talks about I never even looked at as far as Gump like that because, like I said,
Forrest Gump super.
But the dude from Boomerang, legendary. That was crazy. Like Marcus from Boomerang.
Insane, bro. Was butthurt.
I'm always saying nice guys finish last. Marcus was a nice guy. Marcus was actually a nice guy. Eddie Murphy was the asshole. Marcus wasn't a nice guy. No. Oh, what's Alan's name? What's Alan's name?
David Alan Grier character.
So Gerard was a nice guy, right? This supports my thesis that nice guys finish last. Gerard, David Alan Grier, he was a nice guy, bro. Like he was super nice. Eddie Murphy was the asshole. He was the narcissist. He was the narcissist.
Girl. Yeah.
The player got played, but he was the narcissist. He was on his bullshit. And man, David Alan Grier, legendary simp move. And then, but the thing with Richard Gere, see, I don't really look at Richard Gere as a simp.
He a hella simp, y'all.
He turned the hoe into a housewife. He did it. But he did it though.
That's stupid.
But if you said, all right, but if you succeed, is that a simp? If you succeed in your mission,
yeah, that's a lot of successful simps out here right now. Getting finesse.
No. But the simp is, in my book, a simp is somebody like a David Alan Grier or even a Sam Rothstein. That's my guy. But Sam Rothstein,
Ginger had him going crazy.
He did some nut shit. A simp is when you lose. Like I'm paying a chick and she's messing with another dude, and like, you know what I'm saying? That's a losing. But if you can get to successfully turn a hoe into a housewife, did you lose? You won. You won in that situation. You actually are legend. You actually are a legend.
That hoe gonna hop out of her at some point. At some point, that hoe. It's some rappers I want to name. They tried, and that it may work for a month or two, and it's a movie. And that was back when the inflation was way different. You know what I mean? Inflation.
Movies are based on reality.
Yeah, but motherfucker, that girl who was walking the streets didn't have Instagram. That's the one that matter. This is Zuckerberg fault.
The streetwalker. A streetwalker is
certified streetwalker. What? Biggest simp. You took a streetwalker to Neiman Marcus in the 80s? What?
That in the 80s. Richard Gere, legendary for that, bro. That was the 80s. He that
84? You picked up in bro. Nah.
Price that in Bitcoin.
Big facts. Fucking Contash. You have some big boy shit. What? No. Take her back home to fucking Miami Vice and washed her off like a stray cat and cleaned her up. Nah, she ain't had IG.
What's your definition of a simp?
A man who can't get women without using another device outside of themselves to get the woman. So if you got to lead with the money, lead with the extravagant off top, and you know she won't fuck with you without that. I told y'all, like, even my first few days, I won't even take you in the real car first few dates. Probably first 5-6 dates. I don't see if you want to fuck with me for me. It's easy to fuck with me if I pull that shit out or bring all of them out. Cool. Let me see if you want to fuck with me because of me.
Well,
cool.
I mean,
you already did.
People know who you are now, right? It's not like, they know who you are. Even if you come through with a Nissan, they're gonna know. Ultima. They're gonna know that this is the greatest investor of our generation. So they would assume that you would have some money, right? It's hard to pull that trick off now. It's hard to pull that. Are you still doing that now?
Still doing it now.
But you think that actually works?
It's been working.
How do you know?
Of course you can do your Googles and estimate, cool, but you ain't getting nothing. I'm not leading with that. I'm cool.
I look at the simp as somebody that's a sucker. Like, so it's like, when you paying for shit and they playing you and you hating on somebody else and you like, yo, why are you with him? And like,
that's the big Dirty Mac. Oh my,
Dirty Mac. That's how I look at it. And like I said, Sam Rothstein, shout out to Sam Rothstein, man. That was one of my favorite movies of all time. But for him to tell her that when she said, yo, I don't love you. And he said, yo, we can work on that. Love is not important. And then he had to give her money just to get married, and then he put $500,000 in her safety deposit, and then she got caught with diamonds. She was fucking off a lot of money, Lex diamonds, and then he sent the goons to get him, and then she starts fucking his best friend, and then he takes her back after that. Yeah, that's some legendary. That's not even a simp. That's not even a simp. That's just nut shit. That's legendary nut shit. It's actually beyond simp. What he did is actually beyond being a simp.
Yeah. He a supreme simp.
The boomerang thing is more a simp. That's being a simp.
Yeah.
With Sam, because Sam Rothstein is he's actually a gangster. Like, he's an intelligent person. The shit that he did was that's just insane work.
Yeah,
that's insane work. But Richard Gere is not a simp for that.
What? How?
Because he converted her. Do you believe in convert? Do you believe that people can change their life?
I don't think hoes can convert.
Do you believe that a man on death row can change and be a good citizen?
Maybe.
So if somebody can go from being a career criminal. Okay, Malcolm X was a career criminal, right? He changed his life.
Was he, or he didn't have opportunity?
No, but no matter what, he was still a criminal. He was still a criminal. He changed his life and became one of the greatest leaders of our era ever.
Mm-hmm.
So if Malcolm X can change from Malcolm Red to
Malcolm Little,
then
if I popped up in Miami tomorrow with Brittany Renner in his shop, you would kill me.
Brittany,
hey y'all, friend of the show. You're like, bro, with this she doing?
She definitely put the hijab on. She's a perfect example.
Who converted her?
I don't know. I don't know.
We're gonna talk. Now, I'm not saying you can't bust a move and have fun, but to wife it off the street, he got it off the street like a sales paper.
No, the off the street play is crazy. That's why I said
That's cool.
No, that's crazy work. Look,
no,
the streetwalker to
hey, from day
we gotta ask Pimpin' Ken this. We gotta ask Pimpin' Ken. Maybe he could solve this.
That's crazy, yo.
He snatched the streetwalker and cleaned her up. But in the movie, if I'm not mistaken, it worked out though. They got married.
Yeah, they were together. There was no Instagram. You try that shit now in Hollywood Hills or motherfucking Miami or New York. Oh, whoo. So she gonna make that rotation. Starlet, sugar daddies, what you know what I mean? Woo, you gonna be good. You gonna have to go see it Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
So don't try this at home.
It's cool. I think you have the women that you would date seriously to build a family with to accelerate wealth for the black family, yada yada. And then you got your little playthings. That will go on playtime.
So you would advise best practices not to seek the streetwalker as a
This is investment advice. Don't do it. Please don't do it.
The conversion.
Many men get ruined over it.
The volatility. What's the volatility on that?
200. What?
The volatility.
Demons. Yo. Too many bodies. I'm good.
That's volatile and dangerous.
Absolutely.
not just volatile.
Like that every night. What you gonna do? You gotta take her outside all the time too. Then you gonna run. Then you gotta act like you're not embarrassed when you go to live, and she go hug the entire section.
Oh, actually, no, I just thought about something. Speaking of the volatility, because this things when we had the conversation on Market Mondays. So volatility, we talked about that with Chris with Bitcoin. You know, it's an up and down thing, but you can make a lot more money on a volatile asset than something that's just going to stay flat. Like the dollar is not volatile, right? But Bitcoin is very volatile. So the idea is that you're going to be able to make a lot more money on a volatile asset than a flat asset, but it's still a relatively safe asset because it hasn't like completely crashed. It's getting mass adoption. So that's like Michael Saylor's strategy as far as like the volatility. So like there's a volatility index and all that. So I say that to say there's volatility in relationships too, where some women, and then you go men and women, you have excitement. Like you might be dating somebody that's volatile, but they're exciting. They're gonna do some crazy shit. Yeah.
What a time.
But on a drawdown, they're gonna
crash out.
They're gonna crash out. Whereas somebody that's just works in a librarian, it might just be like just you're not really gonna have exciting times, but you're not gonna have crazy crash outs either. What's more appealing?
Stability. I did the volatility and crash out. It's not fun. It ain't fun. It may feel better, no pun intended, and it may be a time, but nah. I think once you get to a place where you like peace and you have too much to lose, you got to make some better decisions, like play versus I can actually build with you. So, yeah.
How stable are we talking? Are we talking treasury bond stable?
Okay, now we got to have a little pizzazz now.
That's what I'm saying.
The volatility gonna look attractive. You got to get enough. I need some, NVIDIA is just stable, but they give you some moments of excitement. Cool. It can't be a boring pillow princess stock. You know what I mean? So you gotta have some fun.
Gotcha. Gotta have. Put it in chat, ladies and fellas. What level on a scale of 1 to 10? What level of volatility are you interested in? 10 is crazy. 10 is you don't know what's gonna happen. You might end up in Turks one day, and then the next day, you cursing each other out, and it's crazy. And then, you having sex on a Ferris wheel. One.
That's play. Press play. Shot the That's press play cabinet. Yeah.
And then one is you just come home every night and you just have your dinner and you just have conversations and
that's boring. Nah,
the missionary play. So 1 to 10.
Yeah.
What level of volatility are you guys interested in?
Yeah. You need some fun. You need a little bit of excitement in ETF. make you come home every night. You know what I mean?
Volatility is good.
As long as it's not dangerous. Some shares for you too.
I like the way he said that. Volatility is good as long as it's not dangerous.
Yeah,
because it can be dangerous. Most of the time, volatility and dangerous goes hand in hand.
Yeah, tell me about it. Tell me about it. So yeah, look combination, fellas. You gotta have some excitement in your life too. To all of y'all who write me about blackout questions, yo, I'm a good dude. As soon as you start with I'm a good dude, I'm like, bro, she don't want boring. You gotta add some excitement. You gotta add some excitement to your life.
I'm a good dude.
I hear you, but I don't want good. That's not what they want. Yeah, you're gonna learn the hard way.
I think this might be a question from the audience. What factors do you consider before entering a partnership? Every time I approach a friend about working together to grow, it ends up costing me the friendship. Do you think it's better to avoid working with friends and family?
If you can't find friends and family to work with, find new friends to work with. At some point, if all these are going bad, it's on you. So you have to build on your own, but like you have to learn who you can build with. If you have to drag somebody into doing something, those are the worst relationships to be in business wise. So like if I say, hey, Rashad, let's build a cotton candy machine for InvestFast, it's like, all right, it's either yes or no. If I got to talk to them about it for 3 months, you're not reading the room. A lot of times we're like, I want me and my friends to build wealth together so we can drive Lambos in Miami and go get bitches. Your friend may not want no bitches in Miami. Like, go build with the people who want to build, or build yourself. Like, it's tough. Like, not everyone wants to go on a journey, but when you do it, it'll be good. But it's tough to sometimes do business with family. And the other part that never gets talked about, a lot of times the idea is not fucking good.
Facts.
A lot of times people are saying no because they can see, well, this shit doesn't scale or it's not as profitable. Like my favorite thing to do is like, okay, how much net profit will I have if I have 2 customers versus 2 million? You should be in a bad economy. You have to be able to hit big numbers with an idea. So it may not be the right idea.
Let's talk about, Michael Saylor. Let's show this clip.
So the very simple idea is buy 20 or 25% of the Bitcoin network on behalf of the U.S. government, catalyze the development of that world reserve capital network, and then let all the Chinese and the Russians and the foreigners sell all their other assets and buy Bitcoin, and then the money flows into the United States. If you want to put a great twist on it, dump your gold, sell all the U.S. gold, buy Bitcoin, then the trade is free because you could buy 5 million Bitcoin for the cost of the gold. You will demonetize the entire gold asset class, and our enemies hold gold in their banks, so their assets would go to zero. Our assets would go to $100 trillion, and we would control the world's reserve capital network as well as the world's reserve currency network.
So in this clip, he's one of these guys. He's interesting because he says a lot of things publicly that most people would say privately. But he's pretty much saying like, yo, this is a strategy that America can use as far as a rug pull pretty much for gold. And you dump your gold on the market, which in results crashes the world's gold prices while simultaneously buying Bitcoin, which forces people to, why I like Michael said, because he's going to get his money regardless. He's pumping this shit harder than anybody I've ever seen. And he's getting filthy rich off of this shit because he's on a campaign. Now, I do believe that he believes in Bitcoin, but he's on a campaign to drive the price of Bitcoin up by any means necessary. And in the meantime, he has to be studied because he's going to end up being one of the richest people in the world in a very short period of time. Because all he does is keep buying Bitcoin, and he's leveraging it. And then his stock, he's getting paid on Bitcoin a few different ways. He's buying Bitcoin, and then his stock is correlated pretty much to the price of Bitcoin. So he's getting rich from the stock price, which went up like 500%. He's getting rich from Bitcoin, which keeps going up. And any chance that he gets, he's coming up with new ideas and new strategies to really get people to just figure that Bitcoin is the only way. And this is something that is crazy to say, because I feel like he said this publicly for a reason, because he knows that everybody's watching. So by him saying this, maybe he's thinking that even BRICS will get one step ahead and end up buying all of Bitcoin. Either way, the price of Bitcoin goes up, because they're like, okay, if this is what they're actually thinking, we need to beat them to the punch, and we need to buy as much Bitcoin as we possibly can. But either way, he still wins because the price of Bitcoin goes up.
God gave me this code for a reason. To my crypto community, what I will say, well, can you flood the market with gold that you don't have stored in a vault? For one. Number two, I do think there needs to be an asset that hedges for the destruction of our dollar. But if you don't know what other entities that may run some of the countries in BRICS, can it be that asset if leaders in BRICS have that as main collateral as well? Thirdly, one day I'm gonna have an honest conversation about this strategy, but today won't be it. I will say though, as of the quarter ending in September 30th, 2024, the net profit margin for the company was negative 87%. Go look what they were beforehand. I'm not mad at a company buying an asset to increase the value. And I love the thing that he did do well that Kathy didn't do is that he held on long, and he's bought a fucking ton of these coins. But why?
Well, the thing about, yes, the company.
I gave me a call for this reason. Shout out to EWR.
The company, most people don't even know what the company actually does. But he to his credit, he saw, like, I read it, he was like, if I would have just stayed doing what I was doing, I would have had to sell my company. And 99% of all of his competitors ended up selling their company. That's the pathway. You build your company and you sell it, but he wanted to go bigger. So he saw an opportunity to just turn his company. He turned his company pretty much to an investment firm for Bitcoin.
To a hedge fund. Yep. Pretty
much. Yeah. He turned the technology company into a hedge fund, unregulated hedge fund. And that's what that's brilliant. It's actually fucking brilliant, because it don't matter what his company. The company is just a shell company. It's a shell company to buy Bitcoin
with no disclosures. Like, sometimes I wish I can grab white privilege off the rack and throw it on me like I did this fucking sweater, like he did. Like, I can't run Red Panda and be publicly traded and then sell cocaine to make profits. I can't turn Red Panda to legal BMF or illegal. Like, I'm not mad at the hustle. I think Mike's a great investor. He doesn't get enough credit for sticking with his strategy. It's not brought up enough of everybody. When I told y'all they was going to fucking shoot arrows in Kathy's back, he was the main beneficiary of her dying. This is crazy. If we did this under the jail, perp walk, Hawk to a meme coin, under the jail, washing draws, motherfucker. Nigga, they would have had us fucking hung up in Abu Ghraib somewhere if we did some of this. What? When I first came on to do the show, motherfuckers was telling me I can't name single securities. Now you can talk. It's gonna go to 14 million. What? That's worth. It's higher than the GDP of the entire world. We're talking about $1.5 quadrillion. Okay. What do I know? But that white privilege shows. I feel you. Ooh, if I can like grab that shit right off the rack and put it on, I would have did this too.
Yeah.
If me and you made some Nazi NFTs and made $60 billion or $60 million, they would have shot us out the sky. All the Zoes in Miami would have found us wherever we went. They would have weaponized anybody black to come kill us. These are not jokes.
Quietly. That's why I said you gotta be quiet, because somebody did make 50 million quietly on the NFTs. NFTs. And then walked away.
I'm not mad at it. But yeah,
the rug pull play.
Facts. But what I will say, if he finds a way to make those services in his actual company work while this Bitcoin strategy, he gonna fucking pass up Elon.
But I don't even think he's. I don't think you even have to. For what? The guy owns 400,000 Bitcoins that we know of. He's probably gonna end up owning 1 million Bitcoins, right? At some point in time, because he just keeps buying Bitcoins, and like they said, like he's getting money from stock. He's buying the Bitcoin, and he's gonna end up owning more Bitcoin. He's positioning himself. Let's say hypothetically, this does fulfill the prophecy, and it becomes, what people think that it can become. And he's the largest. His company is the largest owner of Bitcoin by a landslide. That makes him the most powerful person in the world. Right? That's that's the comparison of a king. That's like Mansa Musa, like when he had all the gold. Like imagine if one person owned 10% of all the gold in the entire world, right? Back when gold was really, when the shit was like, that era when.
I agree. 1,000%. It's interesting though.
Michael Saylor, man, we gotta get him at InvestFest.
Yep, that'd be great.
He'll talk about it.
I will say, if nothing else, it's a hell of a hedge. It is a hell of a hedge. The unregulated part is interesting, and he did it at a time when the regulations wasn't so heavy. There's some brilliant things inside of the strategy, and also it goes back to me always saying it's better to have assets work for you, so you don't need a customer or client. Somebody asked me over the weekend, like, why do you like? I think Ice asked me, why do you like investing so much? I'm like, I don't need a client or customer ever, if the money's working for me. So. Well played. I just think there's a little gray area that he's operating in, but if he can pull it off and keep that white privilege cloak on, I ain't mad at it.
All right. So last topic of the night. Let's show this clip, the NCAA business dealings. Let's show this.
I think it's a phenomenal opportunity. And I think what you're going to see is you're going to see a number of schools selling their teams. And the reason for that...
To whom?
To folks like us. Like we're bidding on a couple teams, I can't tell you. But in essence, what we would do is buy 51% of the team. And, I think if you look at a bunch of these programs, they're making 50, 100 million off of their football program, off of their basketball program. So it's a way for universities, by the way, because under federal law, they've got to offer scholarships in all these different sports. So they've got to update their facilities. So one of the things they want to do is sort of say, okay, great, my football program makes 100 million. We'll sell 50%, that's 50 million. Do a 10 multiple on that, 15 multiple, that's 500, 750 million. That'll come for them to sort of fix different things at the university. So you're going to start seeing more of that. What the schools need is they need money for NIL, but you can't go out and raise money for NIL because that's not a deduction, right? So that if you're giving $1 million to Michigan and you can say, I wanted to go to the sports program, that's great. But if you say I wanted to go for NIL, then it's not a deduction. So that's the issue.
Okay. So that's interesting. That's an interesting take as far as pretty much privatizing NCAA college and basketball programs to generate money and fulfill, the NIL. It's going to come a point in time where this whole thing is just going to get bigger than professional sports. It's almost already there. If you look at Shedeur Sanders making $6 million, rookie contracts aren't that much. So what's your thoughts on these, private equity guys coming in and actually buying up, like Indiana, right? Like I said, that they brought Indiana basketball and now they own 51% of Indiana football, Indiana basketball. Like, what's your thoughts on that?
When I first saw this, I'm like, I would love to see the books on what NCAA basketball has made the last 30 years. Just a gross number. If you can't own an NBA team, I can argue this would be one of the best investments you can make. Now, is it right? That's another conversation. But from an investment standpoint, seeing like even this year, first time in my lifetime the Indiana football has done as well. Hope y'all beat Notre Dame, 10th in the nation. Like when they told me what the jersey sales were on campus for this year, bro, trust me, I totally get it. So if you're giving a kid $6 million or $4 million, minimum you're looking to make 60 or 40. But if you own the entire thing and all the rights and the gaming rights, and oh my God, dog, we're talking about billions of dollars for one campus. Like, what does Ohio State generate in revenue just from football?
Hundreds of millions of dollars. Yeah, I mean,
like, and this is with the traditional system. Like, so I get it. Private equity is going, and once them and it has one thing that the crypto showed me when I predicted that the banks would take it over is that the banks are now acting like the record labels, and they're going to let you make a sector hot for a second, and they're going to come in and take over and buy everything. I want to see what the value. Go ahead.
That's like Big Perk. I don't know if you saw that, but he started he's part of a company where they actually the first company to start NIL loans. So they'll loan people money and then take a percentage of their NIL money. So it's like, you know, a kid in high school who's a top athlete, but he's broke right now. So it's like, I'm gonna give you $400,000 as a junior in high school, but I'm taking 25% of your NIL money.
It's like a VC loan.
Predatory lending, some would say.
Yeah. It depends. Well, is it predatory if somebody white does it?
For sure.
I mean, it happens. I'm not saying that it's right, but if it happens in a startup, what's the difference in that? And when you're doing the seed round, you're not getting 1%. You're going for double-digit equity. Are we not?
I think the difference with that is that as a founder, you need the money to fuel your business, right? So it's like, okay, if I have a tech startup company, I need $5 million to actually, or my business is not going to be successful. With an athlete, they're going to be successful regardless. They just don't have money. So you're kind of playing off, like,
I get it.
Whether you give them money or not, they're still going to be successful, right? But it's just like it's kind of playing, and that goes back to financial literacy. It's like most these people probably are not fully educated at taking this alone, because it's like, yo, bro, just don't wear a chain. Don't, like, you. If you're a star athlete, you're going to go to college for free. You're going to be able to eat. You're going to have a meal plan, no matter how poor you are. So you don't technically you don't need the money. It's more so that you want
the money. Yeah. Touche.
But then you might need it. Who knows? Your mother might have a medical emergency, and it might be extenuating circumstances. You might be getting evicted from your home. But I don't know. Yeah. I just feel like that kind of walks a little sticky line as far as taking advantage of people. But this is America, and everything.
You may have found a little streetwalker or OnlyFans girl that he want to wife up and clean up the little stray cat. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And turn it to wifey. Who knows?
Can you get percentage of OnlyFans in perpetuity?
Now we talking. Now we're talking. Now, if we
who's gonna be the first one to start the OnlyFans agency?
Now we're talking. Go look and see what the OnlyFans creator made the last few years. Interesting. And nice little way to wash some money too. But what do I know? But the agency, other NIL deals, nightlife deal.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow 9:00 Eastern Standard Time, we're gonna go over how to get started in crypto 101 with our good friend Caleb Silver. Man, so much going on in the world these days.
Yes. Stock club prices will be out Friday. Thank you for all of you that have joined the lifetime deal. Excited to see you in Atlanta in 2025. It's going to be a good time.
For sure. All right, guys. We'll see you guys next week.